Everything has changed for the San Diego Padres. The 2025 season opens with a bang, and the Padres make serious growth, change, development, maturation, whatever you want to call it. I call it the Padres got better right before our eyes, but maybe not in some ways that you might think. Let's get to all of it on this episode of Padres Digest. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Christian Pedersen. The season is finally here. We go from all the what-ifs, ands, or buts of spring training and off seasons, and we put all that behind us, and we start to find out who the Padres really are. And after one game, I know that by literal definition, this is the smallest of sample size, but I think we have learned volumes. You could fill a Renaissance library with what you could take away from today's baseball game to open the 2025 season. Let's break all that down. Before we get to that, though, I got to ask, I got to do the thing. I'm sorry. We are a new channel, and we love everybody that's tuning in, and we love all of you Padres fans who have skipped over spring training and said, today is the day that I pick to get involved in Padres baseball this season. And I'm okay with that. I love that. But what you got to do then is hit that subscribe button so that you don't have to go out of your way to find Padres content all season long. It comes straight to you. Enough said. Let's talk about some of the baseball. I started with just the good vibes here of how this one actually ended with a save and a Padres W. But if you missed it, come from behind win. Padres go behind early. Then move into, they go ahead, then they fall behind, it goes back and forth, but largely the Braves were in charge, and then the seventh inning rolled around. Padres end up making the comeback, getting the win. All is well. There's a lot to break down. Let's talk about some of the numbers. I know that this is maybe a little bit small of a graphic to get to, but here is everybody that contributed today, just box score. We got to see a Brandon Lockridge start in left field, given that Chris Sale, the lefty, was on, and I think Lockridge looked fantastic. I'm happy to report that. We saw Hayward later in the game pinch running. Gurriel gets the start and absolutely proves my point that he's a complete dud. Hit the subscribe button because we have a bunch of other videos covering all sorts of different topics, and one of them is going to be a consistent, why did we waste a spot on Yuli Gurriel? But that's why I said subscribe. You get all the videos. Going back to what we've got going on, the guy behind me, the guy given, which I now think is a Jordan-esque shrug, that had himself maybe the best opening day that I can remember of anybody other than like a Tatis hitting some grandiose kinds of home run. Like it's on the short list of recent memory-grabbing days because Jackson Merrill is back. Jackson Merrill is doing crazy things both on the field and in the batter's box. Let's start with the hitting. This right here is a perfect piece of two-out hitting that he did, and I think that maybe that clip has been loaded at super speed. My apologies for that. But Merrill comes up with a 2 RBI sort of little slap singly thing that was very much what you need to do sometimes against Chris Sale, and it was fantastic of not just like results proportions, but it was fantastic to see that Jackson Merrill is so far not suffering a sophomore slump. And if anything, showing that he is ready to get better his second season following a already fantastic rookie campaign. I think that's awesome. I love to see that. It's fantastic. Let me show you the catch. Hope this one's loaded at the correct speed. If not, maybe I got some rust that I still need to hang out in the minors for. But yeah, here, look, top 5. Padres are trailing at this point, and he finds a way to get the Padres runs early against Sale, which is great, and then he finds a way here with his glove to contribute in a fantastic way that slowed down the Braves. The bullpen held fantastically. Chris Sale touched up a little bit. We'll get to him in a second. Right now, Merrill, though, he has both of these, plus some RBIs later in the game. Go back to the totals here offensively for everybody. But yeah, look at that, man. If he can be the leading piece like that, and drop a comment below what you even think of the lineup. I don't know. I think that it's kind of ridiculous on some of it about where some of these people are hitting, but we figure it out. Like I said, Gurriel, I can do without. Neither here nor there on that one. But look, if we're getting this kind of production already from Merrill, and I know one game is a short sample size, but it's all we've got right now, and sometimes you can just tell with dudes when they've put up a certain amount of body of work. And I think one season of what Jackson Merrill did last season, plus starting spring training this year, kind of decent. Now this, like, we know it's not a flash in the pan. We know it's not a fluke. The question is just how much of it can we see this season? And if you're telling me that we're already starting out game one, big moment, Chris Sale on the mound, slap single, just do what hittery stuff, just passes that eye test hittery stuff. Dare I say, I'm going to go back to the main camera here for this one because I want to look you guys straight in the eyes. He might be the best player on the team. I know my bosses are, they hear the nails on the chalkboard of, they don't say mites, don't say Raul. And so I don't want to necessarily blaspheme and be like, he's for sure better than Tatis or Machado. But if you're looking at a guy who's able to do everything from power to gaps to slaps and contribute in the field like that, at a place like center field specifically, that doesn't come around very often. So to have that, look, if he can hit 285, I'd be like, cool, great. That's a fantastic year too. If he can hit between 285 and like 305, I'm like, dude's ripping it. This is fantastic. But if he can have days like this against big pitchers in big moments, who's to say that he can't crush it all season long against the other moments to come? Because there are countless moments beyond this that happen in a baseball season, but there are not tons and tons of like high pressure, high stress Chris Sale at bats where you got to just fight something off. So you think once he finds a zone and a groove and really gets dialed in, could he be hitting 315, 320? Like what could we see this year? I think what we saw in game one shows the ceiling is very high for what Jackson Merrill can do this season. You drop a comment, though. Let me know what you think. Let's move on to one of the other signature moments in this one, and that was Gavin Sheets' first at-bat as a San Diego Padre, getting them the electric bolt that they needed, going yaya to as literal dead plumb center as you can manage. Crushes it. It was on a full count. It was leading off the inning. It was like just start going down the list with big time things that you need from a pinch hitter. It was, to me, it was Matt Stairs. It was I'm trying to think. It was Luke Voigt. It was, you name the iconic moment. Then I will, to get this 15 more times this season. Like I don't want to get greedy and extrapolate and say, look, he's clearly headed for a 27 home run, rebirth of a career. Moments come and go. But he hit 5 of them in a relatively short span in spring training. And I think that this further, again, shows that sometimes with a body of work, guys just, like, he's hit home runs at the major league level before. He's not some just absolute slack. Like, the dude's great in terms of the role that he needs to provide, which is big swings, backup swings, change of pace swings. You need a lefty to swap it up in the line. Like, dude that's not going to play every day, but you know when he comes off the bat, you have a good chance of him running into one. Boom. That's that. That's right there. That's as stereotypical. So that's another one where I'm saying, like, we're getting the best case of it. The bench was a big question for me. It was a big one of these. It was a big shruggy shrug going into this because and you hit the subscribe button, drop a comment with what you think in terms of who should be on the bench. But if you look at the bench, I was worried that it was too much veteran, not enough pop. And in day one, you see Shildt come off with a home run. Lockridge, who technically is a bench player, plays really well in left, makes a great catch at that low wall that technically is a robbing of a home run, with minus some of the theatrics, but he looks good. Shildt comes off to tie the game, provide that. Hayward comes off to run late in the game, which confused the hell out of me and delayed me starting to make videos calling for him to be benched and or just cast away in choice of other minor leaguers. But like I said, subscribe. That's another video. We will get to that at another point. But like, all the things started to come together late in the game. The Padres bullpen held for the majority of it. Michael King to start out the game. Let's move over to the pitching side of everything and get to the totals here. He didn't look necessarily fantastic. 2 2/3, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 3 Ks, home run. Here's my thing, though. Not every starting pitcher looks great every single outing. Sometimes guys don't have their stuff. Sometimes guys do have their stuff. Like, whatever. Throw this one out, sample size-wise, of, like, I don't think this is a trend. Sometimes guys just don't have crisp stuff, and that's the worst case that I saw here. What was just that the Padres did not have exactly what they needed from their ace number one opening day starter. He wasn't throwing the perfect break on everything. Release point was kind of low. Ball was in the dirt. He threw a lot of pitches. Signs were obvious that he was not, like, hitting that stride that he needed to get into to have himself a signature day. If the Padres can survive that, followed by Alec Jacobs giving up a home run. Jacob, not an S there on the end. I apologize for that. But if in the first 3 innings, you can fall behind with Chris Sale on the mound and then say, hey, past that, everything's going to hold. You're going to get guys that are adult, responsible, know what they're doing, situational major league pitchers. How often do you take that? I take that 10, 11 times out of 10. That can't be every single game. I get that. I don't think that's going to be every single game. But if you can survive against a Chris Sale with Michael King not having a great day and get what you got here with Jackson Merrill having a true shining moment, Fernando having a great game, stealing a couple bases, Manny Machado, we haven't even really talked a ton about him. He stole a couple of bases. He looked fantastic. He had some really big work the count, veteran, very much proving that he knows what he's doing type of moments and that he's healthy and ready to go. Arraez had a huge, everybody was contributing. Xander Bogaerts was even in the mix of it all. The only one, like I showed you at the offensive side, that Gurriel, gone with him, done, whatever, fine. Catching-wise, I don't even count those stats. I know that you're like, Christian, that's crazy. They're still in the lineup. If they're not hitting, we got to talk about it. They do enough work as the people that have to work with arm releases here, up there. There's so much specialization in the modern pitching staff, and we saw the flexibility in the game because Hayward comes in to pinch run for Elias Diaz. Later in the game, Hayward ends up in a hit-and-run situation. He gets around. He's safe. Catcher would not have made that. It ends up scoring us runs to win game. Maldonado comes in. No issues whatsoever. Trust him. He's an easy fit back there. And so I'm fine with, let's just zero out that position in terms of, I don't need to nag on the catchers for not hitting unless we get way late into the season and they're just like not hitting. But we will, that's a break glass in case of emergency type of situation. What we've got going on right here now is we just got the one guy, and then the pitching, Bob's your uncle, man. Occasionally relief pitchers, like, people give up runs. No team goes 0 ERA all season. It happens. But the Padres can have permutations like this on longer days. This is really, really good signs. So what am I saying in summary of all of this? I'm saying Padres are going to be fine. Don't know why I counted the words. It just felt like, oh, wait, to emphasize to all you Padres fans, myself included, and I get that sometimes you got to stretch for off-season content, but there was regularly and routinely enough negative to talk about in the off-season. We lose all that. We literally saw Jurickson Profar on the flip side of this, and shout out to everyone for giving him a standing O. Love that guy. Sad to see him. Like, it was a not marquee off-season for the Padres, so it was one of, like, fans either tuning out or having reason to have not tuned in the first place and just being like, whatever, we'll get to the seat. Like, there was not necessarily much uptick of, like, optimism. That being said, there was a little glimmer at the end. They made a couple of little moves here. They signed some extensions, and we kind of said, all right, let's roll the dice when we go into it. But now we get to see the team, and I think largely you go, oh, there was a reason we were really close to beating the Dodgers, and had, if we beat the Dodgers, been probably considered the favorite to win the World. Like, we were close last year. There's a team that, if it's close last year plus improvements at certain positions, like Jackson Merrill, Xander Bogaerts, some of the just aggregate up that you hope to have from Manny Machado playing more games this year, I'm saying let's go. I'm saying get that team to October for me. Find a way to keep everybody healthy. Let's not overhold on to any of these veterans. Let's make some moves here and there. Let's do what we got to do. I don't need to lock in 100% on this specific permutation. But in summary, vibe check entirely passed. Team seems to have some heart. Team seems to have some get up, some commitment, some of that just intangible gusto that, when it is fed into actual talent, results in, yo, we might never be out of it. And just give us another inning, just give us another pitch, just give us one guy on base, just get us start. Like, we might be that team that can flip that switch and be able to get it from such a variety in our lineup and such a different couple permutations with guys coming off the bench to do things like this. Send you off with an absolute mammoth shot to center from Gavin Sheets. Game 1 in the books, Padres fans. This guy's going to be a superstar this year. Things are good. Rest easy. We'll talk to you next episode. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment below with what you think the Padres are going to do this season and who you like on the Friars. Talk to you later.